Good morning, American Jiu-Jitsu. We are back. Tape number 4, second degree, or what we refer to as Nidan black belt. Today, we're going to work on Kanoa Gyeshis. Again, another traditional technique from my traditional training. American Jiu-Jitsu is my song. I created American Jiu-Jitsu, but it's made up of all the different systems. I was a kickboxer. I was an Anis fighter. I was Jiu-Jitsu, obviously, a judo person, and my first thought was karate. So over the 51 years of training with all the different masters I had the pleasure and honor to be training with, including grappling as well, I created what I now term as combative Jiu-Jitsu. Okay, the art is meant to defend yourself in a street scenario. We've been honored and invited to teach at the Pentagon, teach at West Point, and we've taught every law enforcement agency there is to be taught at. So that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a system that's meant not for competition, for combat. Today on the video, again, I'm joined with my two Shihans, Kathy and Billy. We practice social distancing, even when we teach. They live separately than I, so you know we're safe. Okay, that's why we don't have a mask on, because they're pretty much the only human beings I've seen in the last 6 weeks. Today's technique is called the Kanoa Gyeshi, and this evolves from, again, my traditional training with Master Dennis Palumbo from Colorado. Very, very wonderful martial artist who was rooted in the system of Hakaru. So we have a version of it that's a little bit combative, but we do have some of the traditional parts that we will show as well, and we refer to it as Hakaru style, okay? So these are Kanoa Gyeshis from high punch, straight punch, low punch, high wedge, and low wedge. And in the next video, we'll work on some self-defense techniques. Again, you can get all these videos on American Jiu-Jitsu LI Facebook group page, posted every day. Also on American Jiu-Jitsu LI YouTube page, there's a full library of every video. And go to our website on ajjcenters.com. We do Zoom meetings every day, about 6 classes a day, 7 days a week. And there are Zoom codes on there which you can get, cut and paste into your Zoom meetings. If you need a password, go to my email, OSensei Joe @gmail.com. Refer me who you are, and I will send you out that password, or go to another one of the students, which I'm sure already has them. So, first technique is from a high punch into Kanoa Gyeshi, okay? So what you've seen so far is you've seen Shodans. You've seen Nidans. Now we're going to do a Kanoa Gyeshi, which is very similar to the Shodan. It's just a little bit different wrist manipulation. Remember, like I always say, the videos are an overview. They're really not as much as a training tape as an overview and something for my people to do during this time, okay? Really want to learn these techniques. They are a little bit more technical when you're starting to see them, so they lose a little bit of translation in video. You need to come back down to the dojo as soon as we open up, and we will show you these techniques and make you feel these techniques so you become a believer in these techniques. Like I always say, it's a puzzle. This is part of the puzzle, and today you're going to get to see another piece of the puzzle. All right, so from a high punch, we're going to go into a Kanoa Gyeshi, but we're going to handle that by using a teigatami, which is an arm bar, to manipulate the person around to then put the Kanoa Gyeshi on. Before we start, can we just demonstrate a Kanoa Gyeshi, straight up, no technique, okay? So it's when we take the wrist, very similar to a Shodan, and we bend it, and we get a different type of wrist manipulation. The Shodan typically brings a person straight down or walks a person out. The Kanoa Gyeshi is a great way of taking a person down to the ground, or in law enforcement, in cuffing a person, okay? If I wanted to cuff a person. So let's do high punch with a teigatami into Kanoa Gyeshi. So from here, it throws the high punch. From here, takes the hand. Tei means hand, so the hand goes right to the back of the elbow, walks around, brings her down, and has that Kanoa Gyeshi right there. Okay, beautiful technique, nice manipulative technique. Now we're going to take the same thing using a left front tazabaki, all right, left cornering movement, and we're going to go in from a straight punch, but we're going to first entertain it with a wakigatami, which is an armpit arm bar. Once we have control of the wrist, we're going to manipulate into the Kanoa Gyeshi from the wrist. So on the straight punch from here, bang, here's your wakigatami, there's the armpit, and there's the Kanoa Gyeshi right there. And again, if you was in law enforcement, it's a great way of cuffing somebody if you had to cuff somebody. Okay, it manipulates the wrist and it controls the person. At any given time, he could deliver an elbow strike, he could deliver a knee strike, he could take it right back up to a leg sweep. We're never limited to the technique that we're showing you. Remember, this is a process of building. You have a whole arsenal or tools in your toolbox of other techniques to use if the situation changes. You cannot learn a system like I'm teaching you and try to answer every question with one technique, because there is no one technique that answers every other question. It's like, first you learn the letters of the alphabets, then you learn how to spell, then you learn words, then you learn sentences, then you learn paragraph, and then you learn dialect. All right? And we're getting to more of the dialect now than the letters and the words. Okay, so on the low punch, we're going to use now that traditional technique I talked about, the hakaru, okay? And we refer to this as a hakaru style, kanoa from a low punch, all right, to give you another variation, to show you how to manipulate and bring it down to more of a traditional type of a way. So on the low punch, he semis high, brings the hand around, and just hold that for a second. With the hakaru style, if you see the way his hands are, they're together like so. And now all he has to do is bend that hand towards Shion Kathy and lean her down, and there's your manipulation right there. Sometimes, like I said in the video, you might lose translation, or you might say, well, you know, it doesn't look like it's much. Always remember something, when something is not used to the common eye, the first thing for people to say is, it doesn't work. Over the last 51 years of my life, do you know how many times I had to show people why it is that I teach what I do? You know, when you walk into the Pentagon, or when you walk into West Point, when you walk into teaching people that use this for life or death situations, you better check yourself, and I have. I've checked myself over my life, because this is what I do. So when people say on social media or even watching this video, say, hey, I don't believe in that technique, that's your right and that's your prerogative. Throw a punch. See what it's all about. And I'm not trying to be a tough guy. I'm just trying to tell you, if it didn't work, I wouldn't teach it. And the reason why we were invited and teach at such prestigious places is because our techniques are combat ready, okay? So always understand that if you're curious, I love that. If you have questions, I love that. If you want a question, I'm okay with that. But don't do it on social media. Come down to the dojo, let us show you what it's all about, and we'll make you a believer or not. Guaranteed you walk out of here educated with what American Jiu-Jitsu, combative Jiu-Jitsu is all about, okay? So now, let's go with the high wedge into that hakaru technique, okay? So there it is, same thing, he's gonna grab it. It's the same way he just did on that last punch, and from here he can bring her right down and then pin her right down to the ground. And let's do one more technique from a low punch, okay? So from here, boom, he comes around, and here. So we have a little bit of time on this video because I try to keep them at this point at 10 minutes. So would you mind demonstrating them?
Sure.
All right, not too fast, just high punch, just demonstrate them all one more time. So Shion Billy's gonna demonstrate them one more time so you get to see them, how they flow. For the first one, high punch with the tag. Notice his body positioning. That's not something I'm teaching right now. If I was teaching a very instructional video, I would be. Again, these are things that you're gonna have to out to the studio and see, but notice how his body moves in the straight punch with the waki. Boom, from here, boom. Always in a proper stance, always moving, always ready for the next thing to happen, okay? From a low punch, now he's gonna show that hakaru style one. Step back, very pretty, and down, okay? And then he's going to do the last two, high wedge and low wedge. Yeah. And one more. Beautiful, beautiful. So, you know, as you're watching this as well, you know, Shion, Kathy, and Billy were frontline people for how many years?
43.
43 nurses. They were the people that were out there helping everybody for 43 years of life. Shion, Kathy, and Billy, if he doesn't mind me saying, he's over 16. Okay? How old is he?
72.
72 years old, okay? When you're watching this video, what's so inspiring about that, and Kathy?
65.
65. When you're watching this video and you see 65 and 72 years old, and you see how amazing, number one, how amazing shape they're in, and how much they give back to the American Jiu-Jitsu community, you realize that when you're watching this tape and say, oh, that's kind of cool, that's neat, or it's not, or what, and you look at people that are your seniors, and what's your excuse? What's your excuse for not teaching them? I'm too old. I hear people tell me over 30 years old, they're too old. I'm 61. okay? And I started when I was 10, and I feel like I'm just getting started. So you know what? You can sit back home and you can make a bunch of excuses, or you can get off your butt and do something to make your life better. If this hasn't taught you that we have one life and we have to value every minute of it, I don't know what is. I always say in my classes that we're given about 30,000 days, which takes you to the ripe age of about 82, because that's the average life expectancy. 30,000 days. Unfortunately, a lot of people had that cut short with this pandemic. But the point is that if we went to the average life expectancy, 30,000 days, how many days are you sitting there watching this video do you have to waste? Get off your butt, get off your couch, start doing things. When this opens up, come down, train at American Jiu-Jitsu. Not only the system is a wonderful system, not only the physical techniques, but the people. The people are amazing. We have just raised money for the frontline workers at Stony Brook Hospital, and we are going to feed this week over 100 nurses and doctors just to thank them for everything that is that they do. So we're not just a community of learning how to defend ourselves combatively, but we're also a community of people that help other people, and that to me is what it's all about. So American Jiu-Jitsu LI, Facebook, American Jiu-Jitsu LI, YouTube, ajjcenters.com gives you all the Zoom codes. Main thing is, right now until they tell us otherwise, stay home healthy and safe. Watch these videos, keep your mind active, get off that couch, do something to be productive, and don't waste any of your 30,000 days. Have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the video.